Strategy now holds $65 billion in Bitcoin. These are its biggest Bitcoin buys. How did Michael Saylor's firm amass a record stash of Bitcoin? Theories. Here's a look back at how Strategy made such massive gains, by Logan Hitchcock. Software firm turned Bitcoin treasury company Strategy has been buying BTC for more than 5 years, pioneering the growing trend of publicly traded firms that are adding cryptocurrencies to their balance sheets. What started as a way to maximize long-term value for shareholders has transformed into an industry-shifting paradigm that has been further fueled by greater entwinement of traditional financial markets and crypto. Along the way, Strategy has accumulated 843,738 BTC, or roughly 4% of the fixed 21 million total Bitcoin supply, a stash worth nearly $65 billion at today's Bitcoin price, above $76,500. Regardless of how high Bitcoin's price goes though, Strategy co-founder and executive chairman Michael Saylor has committed to buying the top forever, pulling up the firm's average entry price to over $75,700 per Bitcoin, over 7 times the average cost of the firm's first Bitcoin purchase. Below, we look back at Strategy's 7 largest Bitcoin purchases to date, and their immediate impacts on the price of Bitcoin, marked from the time of Saylor's announcements via social media, TikTok, YouTube's. Number 1. 55,500 BTC, November 25, 2024. Average price, $97,862. Total spend, $5.4 billion. Michael Saylor announced Strategy's largest ever purchase of Bitcoin, by both BTC and USD denominations, on November 25 in 2024. The purchase of 55,500 Bitcoin surpassed its previous top acquisition by more than $800 million. In the hours after the Saylor announcement, Bitcoin dropped by about $4,000 to under $94,000, a 4% decrease from the average price paid by Strategy. Number 2. 51,780 Bitcoin, November 18, 2024. Average price, $88,627. Total spend, $4.6 billion. The second largest Bitcoin purchase in Strategy history came just 1 week before its largest ever purchase. Though Bitcoin dropped shortly in the hour following the announcement, a rebound followed and it reached a daily high of $92,653, just 2% shy of its all-time high price, according to data from CoinGecko. The following day, Bitcoin hit a new all-time high price above $94,000. Strategy's purchase brought its holdings to 331,200 Bitcoin. Bitcoin 2 to 19% at $76,539. Number 3. 34,200 BTC, April 20, 2026. Average price, $74,395. Strategy announced its third largest Bitcoin purchase of all time on April 20, 2026, adding 34,200 Bitcoin to its stash and pushing its total holdings to over 815,000. Listen to these words. You need to get yourself into the asset game before it is too late. But I digress. Unlike previous purchases that have been largely funded via convertible notes, Strategy's third largest accumulation was fueled by Stretch, STRC, its dividend-paying preferred share. While the firm's purchases have frequently been followed by a slide in Bitcoin prices following its April 20 announcement, Bitcoin moved higher by more than 1% and was changing hands on April 21 around $75,907. That granted the firm a small unrealized gain from its announced purchase. Michael Saylor, founder and chairman of Strategy, adds, $2.5 billion in Bitcoin, forgive me. As STRC dividend traders drive largest buy since 2024. If you are still listening, then you know what to do. Strategy reported its largest Bitcoin purchase in over 16 months on Monday, scooping up with a titanic shovel, $2.54 billion worth of Bitcoin. Last week, as traders snapped up its flagship preferred share to receive an upcoming dividend. The Tyson's Corner, Virginia-based firm, said that it purchased roughly 34,200 Bitcoin. I told you, but many are not hearing me. Lifting its stockpile to a total of around 815,000 Bitcoin. With Bitcoin trading close to $75,400, the sum was valued at around $61.4 billion, according to CoinGecko. The Bitcoin buying firm announced that April 20, 2026 was a fantastic day. Number 4. 29,646 BTC, December 21, 2020. Average price, $21,925. Total spend, $650 million chump change. Strategy's fourth largest Bitcoin purchase took place in December 2020 amid rising Bitcoin prices and bull market sentiment. The firm disclosed a purchase of 29,645 BTC for its fourth ever Bitcoin acquisition. Despite the purchase being the largest for Strategy at the time, Bitcoin prices was relatively unchanged in the 24 hours around the announcement. Data from CoinGecko showcases a Bitcoin open price of $23,518 on December 21st, closing one day later at $23,795 for a negligible gain. At $27,200. Number 5. BTC, November 11, 2024. Average price $74,463. Total spend $2.3 billion. Less than 1 week after Donald Trump won his second presidential election, Strategy announced a purchase of 27,200 Bitcoin. That stash was purchased during the timeframe of October 31st to the 10th of November, a time in which Bitcoin ranged in price from $72,000 to $80,000. However, following the Saylor announcement on the morning of November 11th, Bitcoin moved violently upwards, closing the day at $88,637, a move of more than 10% after setting yet another new all-time high price after the election. The 10 public companies with the biggest Bitcoin portfolios. For many years, the idea that publicly traded corporations might buy Bitcoin for their reserves was considered laughable. The top cryptocurrency was considered too volatile, too fringe to be embraced by any serious business. That taboo has been well and truly broken forever. With a number of major institutional investors buying up Bitcoin in recent years, the floodgates first opened when cloud software company MicroStrategy bought $425 million worth of Bitcoin in August and September 2020. Others follow. April 19, 2026. Number 6. 24,869 Bitcoin. Bitcoin, May 18, 2026. Average price $80,985. Total spend $2.01 billion. Strategy leaned on its preferred stock offering STRC to help snatch up nearly 25,000 Bitcoin valued at more than $2. The purchase was its sixth largest of all time by Bitcoin denomination, pulling up its average BTC acquisition price to around $75,701 in the process. Yet, like many other of the largest purchases from the firm, the price of Bitcoin fell shortly after the purchase was announced, within 2 days of the firm's May 18 announcement. Bitcoin had fallen nearly 4 to 5% to trade at $77,207, then later in the week, dipped below the $75,000 mark for the first time in over a month. Number 7. 22,337. Bitcoin buy. March 16, 2026. Average price $70,194. Total spend $1.57 billion. Strategy made its third largest purchase of 2026 near the end of the first quarter, grabbing 22,337 BTC, valued at $1.57 billion at the time of purchase. The purchase is good enough for its seventh largest Bitcoin-denominated buy of all time, with this large buy spurred by continued sales of its preferred stock offering Stretch, STRC, which pays a dividend to holders and is occasionally issued when it trades above $100. When that is the case, the firm takes the funds raised from its issuance and buys more Bitcoin. While most of the firm's largest buys have typically been met with falling prices shortly after its purchase, Bitcoin actually ranged upwards from the average purchase price of $70,194, breaching $75,000 on the same day the purchase was announced. In the days that followed, however, the price did retreat, briefly back to under $70,000. Listen, nothing in the video is financial advice. It is meant for entertainment purposes only. But for the love of goodness, think about what you need to do.